Okay.
Good morning, good afternoon, dear teachers. Professionals development, held by World Language Academy, is honorable to start this morning, Sunday for March, professionals development for English teachers interview. Well, today we are going to have a different format. We are going to discuss some topics. It's a privilege to have teachers from different countries, from Ecuador, Peru, Bolivia, and well, so other teachers who follow professional developments can interact and they can leave their messages in the YouTube channel and we can read them. Thank you so much for being here. Miss Andrea, how are you?
Good morning. It's a pleasure for me to be here for the second time, and I hope we can learn from one another. I would like to know some information about the way you begin teaching. I know that we are here in different, could be categories from teaching. I don't know if you are teaching elementary students, high school students, or maybe university students. How do you usually begin classes to motivate your students when learning another language? What do you do to warm up your students to prior knowledge when you begin classes? Because all of us are here because we are colleagues in English, right? So my question is about that.
Oh, well, in my case, I usually work this topic, which is greetings, or how you say hello and goodbye. And I try to feel my students feel comfortable and make the information understandable for them. And I start with basic uh, expressions, and after that, I go to more complex structures. For example, you say hello, and next you say how is it going, and next maybe you can say I haven't seen you for ages. It's like a way to say how are you. Then I try to make my students practice the expressions. And next, if they do that, I can talk about general information, like where are you from, what do you like doing, or tell me your first name or your last name. This is in my case. Thank you, dear teachers.
Robert, do you teach elementary students or high school students? What level do you teach?
Well, actually, I am teaching intermediate level students.
Okay.
And
And
it's
mhm.
interesting because they know some phrases, but not all the phrases.
Okay, thank you so much, Robert. Does anybody want to participate? How do you motivate your classes before you begin them? How do you prepare warm-ups? How do you encourage students prior knowledge? That is the question that I have for you. We have different opinions because we teach in different levels, and everything is enriching for us, right? Everything, because you know that sharing is caring, and we know that the more we learn from our colleagues, the more we can practice and apply on our students, right? So, what do you do in order to begin a class? That is the question for you guys. If somebody wants to participate, if somebody wants to give her or his impressions, we are eager to know. Mhm. Robert says we can share our opinions and strategies, right? Somebody else? Does anybody else want to practice one to try to say some information or some inputs how to begin your classes? What kind of warm-ups do you prepare before beginning your classes?
Hello. My name is Maria Estrella. I teach in elementary school. In my case, I prepare a flashcard, games, puzzles, crosswords, and another. My students like to do dynamics around the class, especially when it's a vocabulary. And I try to improve my format for another when I listen another experience. Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much, Maria. Does anybody else want to share with us?
Well, the use of flashcards is very practical, and I remember that I saw a teacher working with puppets. She used the puppets to create a story or to create a conversation. So that was really nice. And I used to like to do that. I think that it's something catchy. So I can use the puppets to get students' attention.
Okay, it was a very nice and original idea to work with puppets, right? So students felt really motivated and they were interested in knowing what was going on, right? So you activated their teaching neurons, right? Yes. Does anybody else want to share his or her ideas about how to warm up students? For example, maybe you work with the book and then you have a difficult content. Let's say that you don't know how to begin with the present perfect, for example. How do you activate prior knowledge in your students? How do you warm up them? How do you make them think about what they are going to learn? No, nobody. Maybe you, Andres, you want to share your ideas, or somebody else working in another level of teaching, high school, elementary, university level.
Yes,
Well,
Andrea.
I
Oh,
mean,
okay, Miss Janet.
well,
Miss Janet.
in my case, I teach second uh, I have young learners, no? I'm a secondary English teacher, and most of the time I I use flashcards, songs, or I make, for example, real activities. No, for example, when uh, well I work I had two jobs, and most of the time I was very busy. No, especially when, for example, once I forgot my flashcards. No, to well I had to teach, okay, the present continuous. No, and I forgot what did I do? Okay, it was, okay, showing through actions, maybe. No, sample real activities. No, for example, I started jumping. No, what am I doing? Jumping. Okay, well, I think it's easier in those cases. No, for example, when it happened to me when I forgot my flashcards. No, it's very, and the students well, were very motivated, no? And I invited, well, some to some students to do the same, no? For example, a ver, jump first, no? And I asked the others, no? What is he doing? And they start answering. Yes, they like and they participate. And what? This is okay, that I use most of the time. I prepare and I have a lot of flashcards. Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much, Janet. Thank you for sharing your ideas. Okay, you wanted to say something, Andres, right?
Yes. Well, so I want to say something about so in this moment, I'm sorry about the service that I have here in Zoom. It was programmed about 40 minutes, so we can reconnect with the same link that I originally sent to you in the WhatsApp group. So just in case the connection fail and you don't see anything in your screen, don't worry, don't panic. Reconnect, go ahead, and we continue in, I think, in 2 more minutes now. So we can keep talking, Miss Andrea, no problem. Well, so somebody else would like to share a teaching experience, no? Uh, I don't know if you ever heard about teaching programs abroad. For example, when English teachers travel to United States or native English countries, I don't know, United Kingdom, England, or Australia, but mostly it's United States. Have you ever heard those programs for English teachers to teach, well, you don't teach English in the United States, you teach Spanish and other content subjects, but have you ever experienced that? Have you ever heard about that?
Yes, I went to the United States.
Great experience. Would you like to share with us, Miss Janet?
Well, yes, well, we learn about, okay, maybe some, it was about methodology, no? They taught us about some strategies, okay, different games, okay. It was very interesting. We learned, okay, we can practice our English too there. Mm. It was, okay, a very nice experience for me. It was great.
Thank you so much, Miss Janet. Someone else have ever experienced that moment? Okay, it no problem. Well, Miss Andrea, would you continue with another question?
Okay. Let's talk about evaluation. Yeah. I don't know if you think that evaluating has to be summative or formative. What do you think about it? When you are evaluating, how do you prepare those kind of evaluations? Do you think that evaluating has to be a process or it has to be in a summative way?
Now it's formative.
Okay, so could you please give...
Yes, students are evaluated in every class.
Okay, and do you think that that is more recommendable for us, or do you think that students need to learn everything and in the end they have to express what they learned?
I think it's better formative. Well, this is what I don't know.
Okay. Does anybody else want to share his or her ideas? Do you think evaluation has to be formative or summative?
I agree with Miss Janet. It's better to evaluate formatted because it's part of your process. Every single class you will see how the students progress in your methodology and the way that they learn English with different activities that you apply in the class. Okay, formative assessment, as we mentioned, they are instruments that we use in classes to evaluate our students' progress. And you mentioned, Ms. Annette, Ms. Andrea, the question that Ms. Andrea was asking, what do we consider is most important and useful? Rather than summative assessment focus on final insights or final knowledge at the end of the units, formative assessments is permanent. It's a permanent tool that always keeps you well informed the progress of your student. I think it's vital for you to make decisions in your class. Maybe Mr. Robert, in your experience, Mr. Robert, I think that you, as an online teacher, you usually apply activities to promote formative assessment in your classes. Now, as you mentioned, expressions. In that way, you evaluate your students' progress. Is it right?
Yes.
Yeah, I try to make my students practice the phrases and expressions. Another another aspect is how they feel or how comfortable they feel in a class. It's something that you can do. That means that you encourage students. Probably you remember that game or activity, the hangman, which is in Spanish el hombre colgado. Some teachers do that. And another activity that some teachers do is they say, okay, this is the red chair in front of the class. So you need to answer the questions in front of the class. I prefer saying my students, okay, you are the champion. And then you, as a champion, are going to answer or do the exercise. If you change your mind and then you use other words, that words would make the students feel happier and more comfortable practicing. At the end, this is important, and happy students are comfortable and they practice more and they are encouraged to do that. This is my comment on this aspect of evaluation, teacher.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's a very important, valuable contribution from you. Okay. Somebody else would like to add something more about this topic? I mean, formative assessment and summative assessment.
I think that it is very important to have an appropriate rubrics. You need to have an appropriate rubrics in order to evaluate what you need from students to learn. Because if you get a rubrics, for example, given from the book, but that doesn't represent what you want to know in terms of learning on your students, that is going to affect first their motivation because their grades are going to be low, and after that is not going to show what they really learn. So I think that there are very nice links where you can share rubrics forms and where you can create specific topics so students can know what they are going to be evaluated on.
Yes, I agree with you, Miss Andrea. So I remember last time when I was organizing my lesson plans, I was looking for a writing rubric. You know that the writing depends on the level of your students. And for example, you cannot measure a beginner student with the same rubric that you evaluate a intermediate or pre-intermediate or advanced student. So you need to make some adaptations, you need to change even not only changing um, the dimensions of the robot. You need to change, obviously, the parameters, the qualitative parameters, because, for example, when they are beginners, you focus on spelling, you focus on language, and when they are in advanced levels, intermediate, you focus more on mechanics, coherence, main ideas. Well, those details that are more advanced for students, no? Okay, well, is there another topic that would you like to present or talk about in this moment? What do you think about artificial intelligence, my dear teachers? That is uh, a current topic that is occurring or is changing education. But let's be honest with that. So, you know that a new discovery has two parts. It contains two sides of the coin, the positive and the negative side. So the advantages and the disadvantages. So, in your perspective, how do you see the artificial intelligence in terms of education can be positive or negative?
Both. Both.
Okay. Can you develop, please, your response? Why do you think it is both? What is the positive and what is the negative side?
Your audio. Audio. Su audio está apagado. Miss
Well,
Andrea, your audio.
oh, Miss Andrea, yes, you're muted, sorry.
No, what's the question for me?
Oh, no, the question was in general, but anybody can talk about it.
Anybody can
Yeah.
answer. Yes, I like to read something that I just found surfing on the net, and I think that it's quite interesting. I don't know if you are familiar with Noam Chomsky, and he said something on March the 8th of the last year. Let me read, and please tell me your opinions, right? It was in English because he is from the United States, but the translation is this one. Dejemos de llamarlo inteligencia artificial y llamémosle por su nombre, software de plagio, porque no crea nada sino copias, obras existentes de artistas existentes, modificándoles lo suficiente para escapar de las leyes de los derechos de autor. Este es el mayor robo de propiedad intelectual jamás registrado desde que los colonos europeos llegaron a tierras nativas americanas. I think that this is quite impressive. His opinion is quite impressive because it is a reality. It is what is happening now. I am mainly talking about developing articles because I am into research. So I like checking information from different ways of researching, and there is a lot of artificial intelligence around. So people are not creating, they are just copying. And what Noam Chomsky says is absolutely true because people are not thinking. And when you don't think, you know that your neurons begin to die. Yes. So I think that it is very important to go back to old times when research was about reading. Reading is really, really important and necessary for us to improve in any kind of skills. I think that reading is one of the most important skills for either students and teachers in terms of learning. That is my opinion.
I am amazingly surprised. Thank you so much, Miss Andrea, for sharing that insightful opinion and quote from Mr. Chomsky, well, I'm sorry, but
You can mute the person who is just with his or her microphone on, so we
yes, I
can
did it.
continue talking.
Yeah, it's okay. Now I did it. Well, yeah, Miss Andrea. So what the linguistic or Professor Nils Chomsky said, it's true. So many people is connecting to the WhatsApp GP just because they need to find quick information in order to have be honest. So students just try to focus on make quick decisions. Okay, I have to do this. Okay, I'm looking for this. Even professionals do it. So I need this, I'm going to look. So it's a very fast escape from reality that you're looking for. So that's true. Okay, that's true. And also I think that we need to consider the dark side of the artificial intelligence. So I was reading that artificial intelligence is also being used not only in education, in other areas. For example, I am so impressed about it because I think that humanity can be in danger in 5 years, in 10 years, because they can copy information from your, I don't know, your bank account or for things that are private for you. So it's a danger for privacy too. So I don't know what you think about it, but I see a dark side behind the artificial intelligence, a little bit more negative than positive. It doesn't mean that there is a positive side that maybe you can find, I don't know, a quick cooking recipe or something that you need very fast, no? But in terms of education, you don't need to cheat. You don't have to cheat, sorry. Yeah, because that's dishonest, okay? As academic we know it. So yeah, I agree with you, Ms. Andrea. Okay.
Does anybody else want to give his or her opinion? We are eager to know any kind of information you can share with us.
Well, from my perspective, this artificial intelligence called ChatGPT, for instance, we might say that it is like Google remastered or Google reloaded, because at the end is a software, as you mentioned before, and so this is a program. So it follows specific rules, and it is also a tool that we can use for our benefits as teachers or learners in general. So I might say that I would use that tools. That depends on how we apply those tools in general. So, for example, if I have to prepare material, I would use ChatGPT to help me. But definitely, we need the human factor. We need the human aspects. And one thing that ChatGPT can to teach the person to teach English to people. We as teachers can do that because we need this human interaction. And ChatGPT is a program. It is program. So that's my opinion. Thank you. Now I would like to listen to you and hear your opinions too. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Robert, thanks for your contribution. Miss Mercy, as you were studying, yeah, you're majoring the career of pedagogy, being a teacher, no? Maybe in your students' experience. So, how do you see the positive or the negative side of using the chat GPS or using the artificial intelligence as it was mentioned here? There is a format to follow rules. It is convenient or not? In what situation do you think is convenient and why, or where is not convenient?
Okay, well, in my point of view, or talking about from my experience, for example, my classmate, they used to make all the essays completely. They don't change nothing. They don't paraphrase. In my case, I were using chat GPT, but I were using just, for example, so for search some information that I don't remember. So I wrote down, I said, who is the author, this topic, like that, just for that. Or sometimes when I found information, I can mix with other information from the Google Scholar, so I can mix the information, so I can compare just in that case, but I'm not using at all like other my classmates, they were using all those, so the teacher could realize that they were using chat GPT. So it's not good for them, because even we have to cite or reference, or what we can do, just in case that we can, for example, all depends how do you wrote. You can say, please make me an essay with that contain the effect, the solution, like that, just little bit, but not using it completely. Yeah, that's I've been using. That is my point of view. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Mercy. Thanks for sharing your valuable insight.
I just want to complement some information about what Mercy said. And I agree on what she said, that we need to use an artificial intelligence, because the Google Translator is an artificial intelligence itself. So we know that this has always existed, right? Because as Robert said, they are software programs, right? And what Mercy said was something important to be mentioned, because I once was in a course, in an artificial intelligence course, and they mentioned that it was really, really difficult to evaluate the students, because we don't know if the student really did the activity or he was just copying from the question that he or she asks to the artificial intelligence. So we got into the conclusion that the only way to know if a student really, really did his or her activity is when they speak and when they give their inputs about what they supposedly created. Because when the students, they are very intelligent. The students are really, really intelligent. They are suspicious, right? And when you want to say something, for example, create a conversation using simple present, including this, it is so perfect that it is hardly believable, right? So the only way to grade that student, because we know that they are always cheating, is to tell them his or her opinions, right? And that is what we are going to evaluate. We're not going to evaluate the activity itself, because that we know that that is a copy from whatever kind of software, right? But the only way that we know that the student did something is to asking for his or her opinion about the topic. There isn't another way. We get into that idea because we can see beautiful kind of homework related to different activities, right? But we don't know the students did or students didn't do. So the only way is to ask them, what is your input from that activity? Give me your opinions. Yeah, so the students realize that they understood what was given as assignment. That's it.
I agree with you, Miss. So that is one of the reasons that I prefer that the students talk in a freestyle rather than the students present an essay or a short piece of writing. But we know that most of them or many of them are copied from from ChatGPT or other resources. Thank you. Did you know that some schools in Europe now they are not using like computers? They are using the old notebooks, pens, and colors to teach the students. So instead of presenting the material on a doc format of Microsoft Word format, they use the handwriting and they present that information in front of the class. Obviously, we have the technology, but we need to adapt to the reality. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. Thank you, Robert. Thank you, Mercy. Well, dear teachers, I think it had been very fruitful, productive for us to have developed speaking and also practice our experience, no? So the idea of this online spaces is don't only present something or just being passive, no? Your attitude is always active, no? So you ask questions, you permanently you are actively, permanently, and very you're proposing things, no? So like this topic about artificial intelligence and methodology and other topics that are related to English teaching. So, well, today for me was a learning because I learned more from you. So from your insights, from your experience, we exchange, exchange each other, no? So today we didn't have the presence of the special guest, the Mr. Maldonado, but we have always built new knowledge with our experience, and that's very important for this online space, no? Miss Andrea, would you like to say your, I don't know, your last words for this online space?
Thank you, Andrés. It is always interesting to know what kind of teaching methodology each of us has, because we are always learning. We are in a where we need to get information from one another in order to share ideas. And that is what is enriching for everybody. Because we are teachers, we need to have a community. We need to have a learning net where we can share ideas. And from those ideas, we can create good environments for students to learn. So it is always motivating to be part of this kind of talks so we can share different opinions.
Totally agree with you, Miss Andrea. Dear colleagues, so I would say thank you so much for your presence, and for the next time that we have our teacher's interview, okay, we are going to let you know. We just cordially invite you for the next teacher's interview, or in case just we have a webinar, we are going to let you know in the different WhatsApp groups. So let's invite more colleagues to be part. From my heart, I send you huges. So have a good Sunday, have a nice weekend, everybody, and we keep in touch.
Thank
Thank you, everybody.
It was very nice
Feel
talking.
the same to you. Okay.
Thank you,
Okay.
everybody. Nice to be with you.
Thank you for your nice participation, everybody. Thank you, teachers, dear colleagues. So see you next time.
See you next time.
Next
See
time.
you.
See you next
Have a
time.
See you next
blessed
time.
day.
Bye-bye.